collectives and what's the big deal. So in a previous episode, we talked about what NIL is and how it came about. Now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the issues, collectives, etc. So what is a collective and what are the issues with it and what's the debate going on here? Okay, so previously, again, like I said, we talked about the NIL, how it came about, Supreme Court, etc. But one of the key factors in the NCAA abdicating the NIL rules and letting that go through the state legislature in terms of granting those rights was that it was to be explicitly not pay for play, i.e. it was not meant to be used as a recruiting tool. It was an idea that once you got to school, you were able to sign autographs, go to the local chicken place, earn money off your name, image, and likeness. Now, of course, we all know that there's always been, inducements throughout the top levels of sport, especially in college football and college basketball, to get the best players to come there, whether it's wink, wink, nod, nod stuff, or whether it's, guaranteeing somebody $10,000 to mow lawn or whatever. As Jimbo Fisher said, the coach of Texas A&M, we had NIL before there was NIL, speaking about the SEC. So what's happened is that with these name, image, and likeness rules kind of being, really abdicated by the NCAA, there's not a whole lot of rules. Of course, it's seeped into recruiting. And one of the ways that that's happened is through the collectives. So basically, a collective is just a company that's set up. It's a nonprofit. It's a place where donations can be compiled, accepted, and then that collective, which is tied to a school, can go out and offer money, NIL money, to student athletes. Now, what's happened is some of these larger schools, these NIL collectives have been set up, and they've basically been a pot of money to attract recruits. Now, I must say, because there's not a lot of rules, nobody's doing anything wrong, and as long as the deal's not signed prior to that student athlete committing to the school, and as long as that deal is not signed sort of prior to that student committing to the school and signed with the idea that it's only going to take into effect if that student attends the school, i.e. basically a pay-for-play contract, then it's allowed. Now, what's happening and what we're seeing and what sort of some of the complaints are is that in the recruiting process, there's, at least it's being said, okay, you can earn X amount in NIL by coming here. Okay, we'll pay you X amount in NIL if you sign here. Now, depending on the wording there, it's not a problem. They can say, yeah, we think, we'll hook you up with this group, and we think that they will offer something like X, Y, and Z if you sign here. Some schools have been better at this than other schools. Texas A&M and Miami are two examples where they've really pushed hard on the NIL front. Texas A&M, of course, had the number one recruiting class, much better than their previous classes. And the rumor is that they've done well with NIL. Same with Miami in terms of Life Wallet and all of this kind of stuff with some of their major donors paying the players big NIL money if they come to the school. Now, again, nothing is technically being wrong here. There needs to be more information on what the NCAA and what the rules really are. Now, of course, the NCAA, being the NCAA, issued a statement that basically says we are only going to punish super egregious violations. We're going to look forward and we're going to look to make more changes in the future, and that no player will be ineligible. It's going to be focused on punishing boosters and institutions if they don't abide by the NIL pay-for-play going forward. So problem solved. Not a lot there in terms of guidance, and we'll see how it manifests itself going forward. I'm sure we'll have a lot more on the subject. Thank you.